where we will be talking about the Anzac story. Here's Jella and his group explaining and showing what the classes have been doing.
Hi, today we're going to show you what the grade 5/6s have been learning in class. Here is Sathumi who's going to talk more about it.
Hi everyone, I'm Sathumi. I'll tell you what the grade 5s and 6s have been doing in their classes relating to the Anzac history. They have been reading Soldier Boy and have been using different kinds of apps to help them with their history. Let's go and see.
Chapter 3, guys, Glen Ferry School. The first years of Melbourne were hard ones for the Martin family.
In the dossier, there was a lot of tasks to accomplish. One of the tasks was to make a postcard from an app that we all had to download.
There's quite a few apps that we've been using in the grade 5 team. Probably the most useful I found would be Book Creator, where they've been using that to make their own books and their own Anzac dossiers about the Anzac story. We're reading a book called Soldier Boy, and they've been recording each chapter down and the different activities attached to it from the iTunes U course.
Now we're going to go into Mr. Said. What made you create this course?
So yeah, the idea of the course was really to support some pretty important learning about Anzac Day for our kids at Keilor Views.
So now you know what we have been doing in our classrooms. Now moving on to Sina and her group, who's going to talk about the book Soldier Boy.
Now here's another group with Sina, Rahul and Sophia doing a review on Soldier Boy.
Hello, this is a review on Soldier Boy. It's about the Anzacs, in particular James Martin. Who was James Martin? Why he joined the war? Our team is going to find out.
Here are those interviews.
What is the book Soldier Boy like? I think it's a very touching story about a boy going to war at such a young age.
Do you agree with James's actions?
I think James is a very brave boy, but I disagree with his ways into getting in the army.
Do you enjoy learning about the Anzacs?
Yes, I do enjoy learning about the Anzacs. I think it's a very fun thing to learn about, and everyone should learn. And it's very interesting to learn about Australia's history.
Is Soldier Boy teaching you more about the Anzacs' life and how it started?
We have learned a lot about the Anzacs' life, particularly in terms of a soldier's point of view, because if you research on the internet or you read books that we've found in the library, they kind of are written 100 years after the fact, so it's kind of looking back, where a Soldier Boy is written from the point of view of Jim Martin and his family, and it sort of describes how he was feeling, what he was doing, the things he saw, the people he met, so you kind of feel like you're actually there.
This is a segment of Soldier Boy. I hope you enjoy. Now to Tammy's team.
Now we're going to be asking 4 students about what Anzac story means to them.
Thank you. We were lucky enough to have a real soldier come to our school. Here's Grace and Adam interviewing Bill Lake, the president of East Keilor RSL.
Welcome to our school, Mr. Laker. May you please tell us a bit about yourself?
I was a fitter and turner by trade. I was just entering into my 3rd year of apprenticeship when I was subscribed into the army. In those days, I was subscribed in 1955. In actual fact, I was subscribed in 1954, but went into national service in 55. So I'm a national serviceman. In those days, all 18-year-old males were conscripted into the national service scheme. Now, there were some airmen and there was some naval people. However, most of us went into the army. We were trained to defend this country. However, I didn't go overseas. In 1955, there were no wars. Probably that's a good thing. And the conscription in those days, when Vietnam came along, was a marble. So it was your birthday. if your marble was pulled out and that was your birthday, just say it had number 5 on it, and that was your birthday, you would be conscripted. If you didn't, if your birthday wasn't or didn't relate to that marble that was pulled out of the barrel, you didn't get conscripted. So they were looking for younger people. I felt as though I missed out on something, to be honest. I felt a little bit guilty that I hadn't gone overseas, but then on the other hand too, having a young family, I thought it was probably a good thing that I didn't get tied up in a war zone.
Where are you from?
I'm a 5th generation Australian, but originally my background goes back to England. That's where I came, where our family started off from. They came out here on the old sailing ships. I joined the RSL in 2002. I felt as though I needed to have some sort of an interest when I retired from work. So that's when I joined the RSL. Well, we raise funds. We do a lot of community work. We do a lot of work for the local schools. Scholarships, if they're going up from primary school to secondary school, we will make monies available for their sponsorship. We do a lot of community work. We look after all the war widows. We look after the older veterans who have been in the service and are too old now to do the lawns or anything around their house. And we fund all that sort of work. If there's got to be any work done to their housing or their lawns, etc., we will pay for that.
Now we have our last group talking about the Anzac story and the soldiers.
Thank you, Tam. Today we will be talking about the Anzac story and what it was like to be an Anzac. Many soldiers risked their lives to fight for their country, so we should all be thankful for what they have done and what they have to go through.
Now we're going to be asking 4 students about what the Anzac story means to them.
The Anzac story means a great deal to me because if those men hadn't gone bravely into battle, life wouldn't be the same. We could have been under the empire of another country.
To me, it means the courage and the bravery the soldiers had to fight and serve our country.
The Anzac story means a lot to me because the soldiers fought in war to defend our country. The story also means a lot because the soldiers risked their lives in a lot of ways.
To me, I think that they are really brave to risk their lives for our country, and I think that if we didn't have soldiers like them, then we wouldn't be living right now in this happy world.
Because there was barely any time to make a meal, they would either eat really hard biscuits or canned food.
Anzac soldiers would have slept in trenches with single blankets in the cold.
Many soldiers caught lice because they barely had the chance to shower. They were wearing the same old uniforms every day.
Now here's Grace interviewing Mr. McCracker.
If you were an Anzac, how would you feel?
If I were an Anzac and how would I feel? I would feel very privileged that I had the right and the honour to fight for my country, and that every year on the 20th of April everyone stops to pay their respects to what I sacrificed for our great free land. So I would feel very honoured and privileged that people continue to do that. And marking 100 years, I hope that it still happens for the next 100 years.
What does the Anzac story mean to you?
What does the Anzac story mean to me? Well, every year on the 20th of April we stop to pay our respects to those who made the ultimate sacrifice for us. It marks the first military battle between Australian and New Zealand soldiers, who they entered Gallipoli, and of course they were met by the Turkish defenders. With over 8,000 lives lost, it makes me realise that they did sacrifice a whole lot for us, and I'm sure that every year I stop to pay my respects to those who lost their life and for those who made the ultimate sacrifice for us today.
Thank you for listening.